Where's the love? Where's the love? It's right here in the heart of the city. I'm Silas Grant. Got my man with me, my co-pilot.
Yo.
What's up, Tone?
Good, man. What's up with you?
Doing good, man.
Yeah, man. Me too, bro.
Yeah.
I'm doing well, man. CBC week.
Yeah.
You know, a lot going on this week in the city.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the things from before we get, delve into the conversation tonight, I'm just setting my intention, not only with this week, but honestly up until the election and past the election, that for this administration, this current administration, the Biden administration, for a lot of us in the criminal justice space, a lot of us in the reentry space, clemency is something that I think is of uber importance. We've had since my dad come home, we've been doing so much around clemency. That really has been what we've been pushing, whether the public understands it or not. Our Breakfast Club visit, the Vlad visit, 85 South, Be High, multiple things that the Justice Department, with Department Attorney Liz Oya, and obviously using my social media and all of that, just talking about clemency and the importance of this administration, utilizing the president's executive power to reunite families like ours, right? People that have served over 2 decades in prison for nonviolent drug offenses specifically, but also here in the District of Columbia, and a lot of people don't understand this, that we don't have a governor, right? So the president essentially is our governor, and the pardon process for even local crimes has to go through the president. And so I'm excited about some events, some potential engagement, even Friday, something at the White House, to be able to just again be able to bring that to the forefront in the best way that I can. But I honestly feel like this, when you start talking about the Congressional Black Caucus, things like clemency, record sealing specifically, these things, they should not be low on the list. They should be very, very high on the list, and framed around the importance of economic opportunities for our people. I think so many of the issues in the Black community, whether it's health related, education related, violence related, it's so akin to poverty. It's so related to poverty, bro. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I don't understand how we put these issues in these buckets. You know what I mean? But really, they all interrelated. As I always say, nothing is an island, particularly in our community. And so, yeah, man, I'm excited about that. I really am, man, for sure.
You and I were talking offline earlier today. You said something that stuck with me for the rest of the day. It's almost as if sometimes we are ashamed as a society to put a focus on the stabilization of Black men, right, from an economic perspective, right?
Yes, sir.
Even the Black men who have reformed, when you talk to them about priority, they're always talking about giving back.
Yeah.
And they never think about, I gotta get stable to be able to.
Oh, that's the only way you can really give back.
Yeah.
They are very concerned about giving back and helping others, but it's like, yeah. And and shout out to Marcus Ellis. His birthday was yesterday, so happy birthday to Marcus. But one of the things Marcus always says is, you get on the plane, and the first thing they tell you, put your own mask on before you go to help somebody else. And I think that's very important. And a lot of the things that Black men always talk about, and giving back and helping the community, helping the youngins, helping the women in the community, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of the issues that go on in our community, if the men were stable, then they may not exist in the way that they do. But in our community, man, we clearly know that Black women have been our anchors, right? Have held us down continually, repeatedly, and unfortunately, so much of the trauma and the weight of the world falls on their shoulders. And tonight we have an incredible Black woman, a queen that's with us tonight, that has done some extraordinary work, pouring into the future, which is represented by the youth in our community in various ways. And Ms. Jessica Brown, we want to thank you for being here today with us.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
Yeah, welcome to Heart of the City.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, how are you?
I am blessed. How are you?
Very well, very well. In some circles, right, we want to kind of jump right into, we'll work our way around in terms of how we got here. But in a lot of circles, most circles, when they hear your name or see you, they say college girl, right? But some people would think like college girl is you, and it is, right? Or it has been, right? You once were a college girl, and then your brand is college girl, but college girl represents a lot more people than just you. And can you talk to us about college girl from sort of its infancy, the idea of it, the why, the when, and the how?
Well, if we're gonna go back, we gotta go all the way back, right?
That's fine.
So I'm from New Jersey. I went to Howard, and
Where in Jersey?
Piscataway.
Okay,
Piscataway,
that's
New
northern Jersey, right?
Central.
Central
Yeah,
Jersey.
'cause,
Okay,
you know,
okay.
it's north, central, south.
I
Yeah.
got you. Okay.
So I'm from New Jersey. I was a Jersey girl outside, you know, fly as always.
Yeah.
And I used to live in Cook Hall up at Howard, which was that dorm right on the corner of Georgia.
Yeah, I've been in there.
And I used to we ain't gonna, that's another episode. But I used to always walk to Ho Chi or to Gresham's store, you know, and Chuck and Billy's was right there.
Oh yeah,
Chuck and Billy's.
Yeah,
Staple.
I'm a product, okay?
Staple.
And all the OGs, when I used to walk past, you know, hey, college girl, it's like they named me all of a sudden, right? And as time went on, I was their college girl. Like, they were my protectors, you know. Still to this day, you know what I'm saying? The OGs, really, I really respect them and thank them for embracing a young girl from the suburbs, you know, and showing me the ropes and things that I would have probably not learned until later on in life. And so that's really how the name Low Key came about.
Yeah, I like
Man,
that.
you don't know what that means to me.
Yeah.
To us. Nah, for real. You don't know what that means. Like, you know, like the world we come from, like, and what Chuck and Billy's represent. Like, I was a young dude going in there, right? But like them guys, them the guys who raised us, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's them and like those exact guys or just but that guy. So like
That
that is
prototype,
yeah, that prototype. You know what I mean? But it also speaks to, I think, what people. Because when those guys are described in sort of a more general sense, those guys are demonized. Those guys are seen as being, you know, outside of the lines, part of the underworld, and they're bad. But think you just described those guys that didn't know you personally, but saw you as a young sister that they wanted to make sure you knew you were appreciated, protected, and what you were doing meant something to them, even if they ain't know you.
Yes.
But that is the beauty of those guys that raised me. And a lot of times when I talk about, you know, and I think people would assume like I be leading on, like how could a dude that you said rob banks or sold drugs or, you know, shot people, made, you know, did that for you? But like, look at that.
They did.
Look at that.
And one of my homies, Unc, I call him Unc because of course he's older. And I remember telling Unc, I want my first apartment. Like, you know, it's what I want to do, you know. He's like, okay, baby girl, you know, mind you, Unc done been to jail for a whole bunch of, served time with your daddy. You know, recently was serving time with your, went back to jail, served time with your daddy. Watch me on Good Morning America from jail. You know what I'm saying? And he always says to this day now, I'm this greatest investment that he ever made. And, you know, Chuck and Billy's was more than just, you know, the people that were just demonized or ostracized. There were all different types of tax brackets in Chuck and Billy's. Absolutely. Your firefighters, your policemen, 100%. Your corporate black men. You know what I'm saying? Right. It was like a home spot. So it felt like home for me. And they embraced me, and as time went on and I moved on from college and started getting jobs, and I started working at one institution out Herndon, and then I got a job up Howard and working in financial aid. And I'm saving all these kids' lives and all this stuff. And then one day I come to work and they're like, oh, Jessica, you let go. I guess the last person to be hired is the first person to be let go. And I couldn't understand it. I'm like, man, I've been doing all this. I'm saving all these kids. Like, man, this is my lane. I'm here to help people. And in the same breath, at the same time, my pastor from back home, DeForest Stories, has a movement called D-Free Financial Freedom Movement, where he goes into black urban communities, and he felt as a pastor I couldn't be teaching people to tithe and do this and that and the third without teaching people how to save money. So one day I see him out in Maryland. He's signing books because he wants me to come out to talk about financial aid. He's signing books. And then a light bulb went off in my head. I said, man, if I can, he's asked me to be here to speak about college and help people pay for it. But imagine if I can write a book about this. And so, you know, I was on unemployment, making $150 every week, which was nothing. And I said, you know, I want to start a GoFundMe. Started a GoFundMe. I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And then one morning it clicked, and I said, you going to be called College Girl. And I called all my friends that morning, like, yo, I got the plan. They was like, girl, you tripping. You know, and I was like, I'm gonna show you. And even with my mom, I told her the same thing. Man, you 25 years old. What you mean? You college girl? I'm gonna show you too. Yeah. Raised money off GoFundMe. Went to Vegas for the U.S. Department of Education conference. Had club flyers. I had 5,000 flyers I was handing out. Like, you could not tell me I was not gonna be college girl. Rock Mikey from UCB made my college girl varsity outfit screen printed. What? Yes.
Shout out to Mike, man.
Yeah. And I went out to Vegas. That's one thing about it. I'm gonna credit everybody who got me to where I am right now. You know what I'm saying? That was the hood, for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? And so time went on. I just kept going. Reverend Jesse Jackson and General Motors gave me my first deal to go on tour to talk about my book. ABC News New York gave me my first opportunity to be on live news, and now I stand before you today being on live news over 75 times.
All the time. Like, it ain't really.
It ain't nothing,
I remember. Do you remember? Let me pose this in a question. Do you remember when you came to talk to my class? You know what I mean? The reentry joint.
Yeah, that was when I first stared College Girl.
When you first, and you you gave them books. You remember that?
Yeah.
And I remember when you left though. Even though obviously that group ain't going to college, but they had nieces and nephews, children.
Right.
And I remember being really surprised at one of the guys who, prior to you coming, it was almost that, he felt like he got made to come, right?
Right.
By his PO or whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he wasn't really engaged, and he never really gave me no issue, but you could just see he like, man, I gotta sit through this because they making me come situation. But when you left, he was like, Mr. Lewis, next time, man, for real, man, I'm glad you had her come through. Because he was saying that whatever was going on, it wasn't his daughter, but I think it was his niece. He's like, Slim, we just was talking about my sister. It was his niece, because he said my sister, talking about where my daughter. I don't know if you remember. He was asking you. He kind of asked you more questions.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then he wasn't asking no questions before that. and then that always stuck with me. You just never know.
Right.
But you was like, so I come through and talk. You know what I mean? And it's like, but for him, what he felt empowered about was now he could go home and bring something to that conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? The night before, he had nothing to say. Right. He totally blind. He don't know. Mm-hmm. He ain't never been to college. He don't know nobody that went to college. He don't know nobody. He don't know how. But now he could take this book home and tell them, hey, I met this lady today. Mm-hmm. And he felt so like good about that, because when he came back, the next day was when he really was like, yeah, man, shit, I gave him, And that's like, those are the things that sometimes in the work, you can't measure that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, did his sister or his niece reach out? I don't know, but the point about it is that made him feel like he was making a deposit in his family.
Yeah.
And I never forget that. You know what I mean? I always appreciate it anyway. But I just wanted to, I don't think I ever got a chance to share that specifically with you about that visit. But also what it said to me also was that there was no place or space that you weren't willing to like engage.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm gonna pull up anywhere.
Anywhere. For sure.
So that's a good segue, because that was going to be my question to you. You come to DC from Jersey. You're walking by Chuck and Billy's. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if you know Mikey, you up and down Parkview as well, right? So,
I'm a Georgia Avenue shawty, baby.
Right. So you say, okay, I'm gonna be College Girl. You call all your friends. They all have some sort of reservation about it. You call your mom. She got a reservation about it. What I'm seeing is a consistency with respect to fearlessness. Mm-hmm. Can that be taught, or learned, or was that in you?
I think for one thing, it has to be in you.
Okay.
But you can also be taught in certain experiences. I came from a good family. Well, my dad didn't have a college education, but he became a millionaire off making a construction business, but couldn't read and write. My mother was a Howard graduate, and they had the financial means to put me in different programs growing up. By the time I was 16, I was going to China to study for 9 weeks, and I was the only black person that I saw. So at that moment, I had to learn how to be fearless. I was a black kid who didn't know a lick of Chinese. All thing I knew was General Tso's chicken, and viewers, they don't have that over there, y'all. So don't you be expecting no General Tso's. That's for American people, right? Sure. But the opportunities that my parents put me into, and this different spaces and experiences because of who they were as people, gave me the fearlessness over time. Being in dance class, being in the class president, doing all these different things. I went to the oldest black camp in the country, Camp Atwater, where I became like the deputy mayor, and those type of experiences that were taught and brought to me gave me my fearlessness of who I am now.
Got you.
That's deep. That's very interesting, and so I really appreciate that question, right? Because even in as a leader, and I've watched you not only be sort of college girl as an individual, but I've also watched you grow, right? I've seen your staff, I've seen you do various things, I've seen you put on events. I want to pose that same question around leadership, and it's probably the same answer, but I think being fearless is sort of a quality of a good leader, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't think they just absolutely one and the same. So do you think, are you born a leader, or are leaders born or made? Would be my question.
It could go either way, honestly. But I was low-key born to be a leader.
That's it.
But at the end of the day, I was also, with my experiences, it made me a real leader.
Was it what, if there is one, right? Was it a moment? And maybe even, so not, because you maybe bumped into this moment pre-College Girl, really. Mm-hmm. But let's say in the building of College Girl, though, you talked about General Motors giving you your first funding. Mm-hmm. You talked about ABC New York giving you the first interview. Mm-hmm. But what moment was it when you realized, oh, nah, I'm her? Was there a moment where you realized, this is what I'm supposed to be doing?
I think that's one of my internal struggles that I still, battle with, right? Because to the world, they probably, I'm her. I am that girl. People really look up to me, but I'm such a regular, chill person in the same breath. Sure. I think recently is when I've started to learn to live in the moment. And I'm never one of those people that are present, because I'm always thinking about the next thing, right? I get this 56 passenger motor coach with my face, all my wigs, and all my beautiful black children on this bus. And I'm like, nah, I need 2 buses, or I need a private jet with my face on it, right? Instead of taking a moment to step back and being like, I'm her. Girl, ain't nobody got no 56 passenger motor coach with their face on it that's taking kids on a $75,000 trip that you raised the money for. Yeah. So I've recently started to embrace that, but also, I have such a big level of humbleness, because one thing I know about, God gives and God takes. Mm-hmm. So I never get a chance to really boss up. Yeah. Now, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes in the mirror I might be like, yeah, you look a little good today. Right. But I come back down very quickly. Sure. So I think, when I talk to my students a lot, and I ask them, do they want to be a legend or they want to be an influencer? Everybody says they want to be an influencer. Mm-hmm. But for me, I want to be a legend, because legends have legacies that live forever. So I will forever be her. So, but I don't exude that in terms of arrogance-ness.
No, of course.
You know what I'm saying? So,
but when you go into a GM office, or AT&T office, or CoverGirl office, right? We talking about international companies, and that if they're willing to invest in you, then they have to see you in a certain light. And you ain't just saying whoever, even to be able to get those meetings. So can you talk to us a little bit about that? How in terms of those major corporate partners, How did you embark upon, connecting on that level?
Well, I spent a lot of money to make money. Let me start there.
Okay.
I was just telling this story yesterday, a little short story about how when I first started College Gurl, I came up with this little swim line, College Gurl Swim, and all the swimsuits had like scholar, achiever, like I wanted to promote more like positivity in this world, right? And I went to Essence Fest in 2017, flew Spirit, ain't had no money. One of my homegirls who was older than me was out at Essence Fest, and she was like, yeah, you can stay in my room. She's like, yeah, sleep in the bed. I was like, no, I'm not going to sleep in the bed. I'm going to sleep on the floor. She's like, come on, Jessica, you being obnoxious. I said, no, because I always want to remember this day, because it's going to be the first and last time I ever slept on the floor. And now I go to Essence Fest, and my friends who want to make it, now they stay with me, and I pay for their food and their lodging. And I tell that story to say, it's been a long journey. Getting these meetings is because I'm flying out with no money to go meet some of these people, in hopes that they'll give me something. And one thing that people don't realize is that takes time. Like, I have a college tour in October. I can meet you today, and it might not be until 2 years from now that you finally invest into that. But even when the lights go off, people are still watching me. So I'm still performing, whether they're through Instagram, they're seeing me at events, they're seeing me here, they're seeing me there. So in a lot of my corporate partners, that's what they were doing. And so funny, we mentioned, General Motors in the beginning of how I started this year in March. I was the U.S. Black Chamber's Power Woman 50 of Influence, the youngest. I'm 34.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And
Yes,
it was
indeed.
the First Lady of Maryland was one of the honorees, Dia Sims and all these powerful women. And I think the crazy part about that is that General Motors reached out to me and said, Jessica Cadillac wants to come pick you up. And I didn't know that from 2016 to this day, they were still watching me.
Yeah.
So I just think the power of you always just showing up, making those sacrifices, right? Like, I spent a lot of money to make money, or I made it look as if I had money and I didn't have it. Like I was telling y'all earlier when we were offline, when I was on Tamron Hall during COVID, I had a $40 Marshall's dress, but I also had 3 or 4 other news gigs, and I wasn't getting no money. It's COVID. I took that dress back to Marshall's, shout out to Marshall's exchange policy, and flipped that dress 4 or 5 times and had 5 different bell sleeves, all different colors, by Calvin Klein, right? But it was the perception of it looked like I was this person, you know what I'm saying? But because in my mind I was, but people really didn't know that I was struggling. Right. So it was no matter what, fighting for your dreams, not ever giving up. Don't let the money stop you. I always have these conversations with young cats all the time, like, oh, well, Miss Jessica, I ain't got this, I ain't got that. Let me tell you something. You only got it because you don't want to have it. There's a sacrifice somewhere in your life that you can make. And so that's when I really started to realize my power, my influence, how I show up in this world, how I'm able to make the connections. Now I'm the youngest black girl on AT&T's Consumer Advisory Panel, sitting next to all heavy hitters, because they continuously watch me. I show up to places. I pop up on anybody. Any opportunity, when you gave me that opportunity to talk to your kids, I'm going to pull up. I didn't know that this was 6-7 years later, evolve into this beautiful relationship that now I get to mentor your child.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So just putting yourself out there and, I don't know if I cuss on here, but you your own competition in this world.
Yeah,
You said something that was so amazing, and we cannot gloss over it. The initial interaction, nothing came of it. You kept showing up, and they kept watching.
Yeah, man.
And so many people, so many people that we talked to directly or indirectly would have given up, would have cursed out, would have been howling at the moon about the fact that nobody saw them. And you was like, you know what? I'm going to be College Gurl regardless. And they going to end up coming my way. So I just had to, I ain't even got a question for that. I just had to say that again. Because people need to hear that.
Yeah.
It reinforces
You
so
just
much
gotta
we
keep
talk about.
just keep doing you.
telling
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm my own motion out here. And the crazy thing is I go to bed at 9 o'clock, y'all. And people don't even believe that. Like I don't be outside in the streets. Like, like I really be locked in. Like, like if I'm not traveling overseas and chilling, I'm really out here hustling. You know what I'm saying? I'm really out here showing up. I show up to anything and everything, and always putting myself out there. And sometimes we over here always looking for applause. You You know what I'm saying? People always want people to clap for us, clap for us, clap for us.
doing nothing.
No, you know the only person who need to clap for me? Me.
Yeah. Come on.
Because I'm proud of me. Like what Snoop Dogg said, I want to thank me.
Yeah.
I want to thank me for never giving up on me.
That's real though. For real.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I mean, people work for applause instead of a cause.
Yeah.
My cause is for me. My cause is to change my family's trajectory. My cause is to change these young black kids out here. You know what I'm saying? I don't need you to clap for me. Like one day I got into it. One of the local activists, oh, Jessica, why you ain't at this march, man? This is where you supposed to be. This is where you supposed to be. I don't do photo ops, baby. My fight 365. We ain't the same.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
telling
And when I show up, you ain't running 70 kids in no summer camp. You know, you ain't giving $150,000 in scholarships. But you out here advocating as if that this is what you do. You know what I'm saying? So I think really what it is that people don't see what you go through behind the scenes. They don't see these college kids when they're in college and their parents can't provide. They call them Miss Jessica late at night for $20, $50 for groceries. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody wants to be seen. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? And the whole time, the most powerful work you could do is behind closed doors.
Things people don't see. I think sometimes too, especially in the work with young people, and in the city, you can sometimes get yourself caught up in thinking that all young people or the young people that need help, all young people look the same, and they don't. I think you carved out a niche in terms of, like, look what you just talked about, right? Like kids that we would consider to be the quote unquote kids that we don't need to worry about, but of course we need to worry about them.
Yeah.
Most kids that they still come from the same environments. They didn't have the courage enough, they're courageous enough, knowledgeable enough, competent enough to make it to college, but okay, we want them to make it through college. Right? What does that look like, right? They don't have people to call. Right. You know what I'm saying? That falls on your feet. You are somebody that they can call, that they reach out to, they know gonna be there. People don't understand the gravity of that, what come along with that. You know what I'm saying? It's very heavy out, yeah, but in a lot of folks' mind, they think this is just one way. All of the kids, the youngest that might be shooting at each other, they need attention too. But Silas talks about this a lot in terms of that. What about that kid though, right? And if we don't support that kid, then they will become that kid. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And I think, not just I applaud you on that level for saying that you took the mantle and saying, I'm gonna start paying attention to these kids and giving these kids what they need, because a lot of times those kids slip through the cracks because of that. And
that's that Chuck and Billy's upbringing a little bit too, because I had one parent and her son, he's troubled youth. I pulled up, what's that rec center on 7th Street by Club Play?
Oh, KDP,
and I pulled up. Right, they're like, oh, yo, Miss Jessica just pulled up. Yo, Miss Jessica, what you doing around here? What you mean what I'm doing around here? I'm checking on you. Like, why you ain't doing what you need to do? Man, well, Miss Jessica, man, I really thank you that you took the time to pull up on me. I'm going to pull up on you anywhere. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's so important. We see these public figures. We see us on Instagram. We are untouchable. Right? We are unreachable. Now we've reached a certain financial status. Oh, we only fly private. We only fly first class. Now I do only fly first class, but
talk about it.
But it's like we exude that energy every time we go out. That real person in us has now gone out the window, and I think we also need to come back to that. You know what I'm saying? Because we all started somewhere. And whatever our missions are, we need to not just classify like, oh, I'm only just going to help these little smart group of kids because I know they're going to be successful. No, I want to help all the kids. I want to show kids that you could be smart, you could be sassy, you could be spicy, you know what I'm saying? And you could still be educated. You could still be the next future leader of tomorrow. Like, oh, Miss Jessica, she got a curly wig, 22, 24, 26, sure do. With a little lace closure, you know what I'm saying? I got all the same things y'all got. But also, but you can do this too. You could be me. We could be Tony. We could be Silas, right? And we need more of that. All of this Instagram and perception, like these kids want to make fast money. Like fast money always goes away fast. The tortoise always wins the race. I always tell that story. You know what I'm saying? Sure. And the reason why now we are all winning because we had patience being that tortoise. You know what I'm saying? We had to deal with a hair that was taunted us, that was flaunting, I be thinking about why I ain't got a Chanel bag yet. Why I ain't, cause I ain't sell my soul to the devil. That's the reason why I don't have one yet. You know what I'm saying? But people don't know what other people are doing, and we can never compare a journey to someone else's. You don't know if they've had 6 or 7 failed businesses before they've now made it.
Yep.
You don't know
Yep.
what they've had to do behind closed doors with somebody to get to where they are. You don't know that. So the thing that we need to instill is focusing on you. God gave us all a gift to produce wealth. All of us have different fingerprints. All of us have our own identity, but it's up to us to really push that and exude that and create our own lane to where as though that we can be who we want to be. And the possibilities are endless. Like when I went to China when I was 16, them third world countries, baby, it's a different world. This ghetto y'all talk about, Southeast Benner Road, baby, this ain't no ghetto. This is a palace, okay?
Yeah,
you goes over there, you sleeping in a tent on the floor.
Yeah.
You go to Colombia, you see young moms on the floor with their infant kids with a blanket on trying to catch you coming out the club to get some money from you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We live in the land of opportunity, but we make so many excuses as to why we are not where we're supposed to be. And the real reason is this because we're making excuses for ourselves. So we need to get to a point where we stop doing that.
Hey, well, my bad.
Wait.
Now, I was just going to ask a real quick question about something you said made me think about this in terms of purpose. And I was thinking about the times where we've engaged and bumped into each other in like professional settings, but also bumped into you at the pool somewhere. You know what I mean? Or in a lounge somewhere. But the one thing every time, and then we might, just kick it, whatever the case. But it's all the parting thing is like, hey, I need to catch up with you about this. Can you talk to? Because Silas and I always want people to be able to like glean from like greatness and leaders, right? But like, what is that? Can you talk to us a bit about that, right? Always having intention and like being like very keen on like networking.
Oh yeah.
How important is that?
I'm a hell of a networker, y'all. Your network is your net worth. You know what I'm saying? Because what you gonna do? Tell me no?
Yeah.
Shit, you ain't gonna be the first person to tell me no.
How about that?
The reason why I've been on live news 70 times is I'll sit at home and Google all the news producers across the country and write the same damn email and send it off. Somebody gonna write back saying yes. I've heard no so many times in my life. You ain't gonna be the first person to tell me no. And then when I go places, I'm an observer. That's why I always normally got on like some fancy shades. So especially when you go to a conference and everybody got a badge on. Other day, perfect example, sitting at the bar. They got this big conference at the hotel downtown. I read the man badge, Googled him. We're $4 billion. And he was sitting next to me at the bar. Hey, how you doing? So-and-so, well, man, you from D.C.? You know what I'm saying? Like, I talk to anybody. Yeah. Why not? You a person like I'm a person. You bleed just like I bleed. If you ain't gonna talk back, that's okay. Sure. But putting yourself in spaces, right? If I had $20, I tell this story to my older kids. If I had $20, would I go to Rose Bar or would I go to the Ritz-Carlton? I'm going to the Ritz-Carlton. Because that $20 gonna make me $20,000. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I'm going to make with y'all fools at the Rose Bar?
You going to just spend that 20, that's all.
I'm going to spend $2,000 because y'all ain't got no money for these bottles. You feel me? Yeah. But that $20 at the Ritz-Carlton now put me in a new bracket. Who's this black girl? Why is she sitting here? Right? And I sits right there and people spark conversation with me. Because clearly, in their mind, I am on the same playing field as them. Of course.
The environment.
Yeah. Because I put myself there, right? So so my networking has real little quirks and stuff that I do, but that's how I've been so successful. One day I was at Capitol Grill, some guy was sitting next to me talking, and next thing you know, he told me he works for this place, and we give grants. Okay, we'll apply for it. 3 months later, $75,000. Yeah. So my networking is putting myself in environments where I want to be like those same people who are also sitting there as well.
And in this city, I mean, all cities, but if we're talking specifically about D.C., there's so many of those places.
Yeah, there's so much money here.
Like, if people just don't even, like, scratch the surface. They don't even engage. Like, it's so many of those places that's here, and we just don't, show up in that way with intention.
Yeah, I show, like we talked outside, when it was the Trump Hotel. I had a lot of black friends who worked there as directors and managers, at the time. And a lot of my friends were like, oh my God, I would never step foot in there. I said, girl, you is crazy as I don't know what, girl. Your drinks is good, the conversation is good, and there's a whole bunch of money in here. Yeah. And I would be the only black girl in the bar. And I wouldn't care. I would dress like this, or I'd be in a hoodie and sweatpants, right? Scared of white people. You wanna know why? Because all the hotel staff, oh, hi, Miss Brown. Oh, God, how are you? So-and-so, so-and-so. These white people like, who the hell is this lady? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And now they want to know about me.
Sure.
Now the conversation is, I don't have to learn about them. They want to learn about me. Yeah. Now I can gauge the conversation. So it's putting yourself in situations to where as though you can gauge conversations. You can get people on your page because you're putting yourself in their environments to get that.
And you got something to tell them.
Yeah.
You definitely got something to tell them.
The city.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So
that's right.
It seems as if, like, when you step out the door, you're on go all day, right? Whether it's Jess Brown or it's Jess Brown, the college girl, right? Tony talked earlier about meeting your staff and you've been able to really scale. And are there ever moments, or was there ever a moment where you had to wrestle with letting go a function that was really core to College Girl, but you had to hire somebody to do that so that you could really be in the core space where you needed to be?
You want to know something crazy?
Go ahead.
I do everything.
I figured that's why I asked.
I do absolutely everything. From the writing of the grants to ordering the pizza. All my staff got to do is show up. I don't like my name, my integrity, my brand, knowing that's on the line. Like, if you order the pizza and it ain't got enough pepperonis on it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need that, So, but I am learning now as I evolve and I'm becoming this bigger person. Sure. I need to delegate. So that is a challenge for me. But it's also delegating to the right people who have the same heart, mission, and passion as me. The great thing is about my staff, they are absolutely phenomenal. They are super supportive of what I do. I just need to just relinquish more onto them. But they know how I like to run things. And so I know in my absence, if I need to fly somewhere, I know they're going to hold it down to my expectations. But that's one thing now that I am doing is transitioning, because I got my own dreams. Like, I want to come out with an HBCU docuseries that I have a trailer for. Like, I want College Girl. I have a children's book, but I want College Girl to be a cartoon. But because I'm so busy raising money and running after everything, I don't get a chance to really lock in on my personal goals. So that's my focus for this year and the rest of this.
That's dope that you went there. So we know what's like in the future. The question I would have, you talked about, obviously serving as an incredible mentor to my oldest daughter, and how much she looks up to you. But who are your mentors?
That was gonna be my next question too. I was gonna ask you, coaching you, like who? I was gonna ask that.
Because you grow and that that ain't gonna be sustainable. You ain't gonna be able to do everything.
I know.
So like, I think it's imperative.
That's crazy. I was gonna ask the same thing.
I got a few mentors. One, Tanya Rapley. She's founder of My Fab Finance, younger person at the time to be on the cover of Black Enterprise. She really holds me accountable. Wow, this is a tough question. Because I don't really see them as mentors, because now they're low-key becoming peers and friends and sisters, right? So I would just say, like, my personal support system.
Who fuels you?
Yeah, that's a better question.
I would say, my dad had passed away and my grandma passed away, but I would say the both of them. My dad couldn't read and write, was from Lynchburg, Virginia, learned from some white dudes how to haul trucks and became a black millionaire in Jersey at a time that blacks couldn't be millionaires in construction and trucking. He taught me, no matter what, if this is what you want to do, you're going to go get it. My grandma, she didn't go to college, right? But she just, before she died, she said, I don't know how the hell you got here, baby, because I didn't think you was there. She was a little crazy growing up. But the fact of the matter is that she told me to dress how I want to be addressed. And that went very far. because even when I didn't have much, when I walk into these spaces and because I look the part, people automatically think that I'm in their tax bracket when I was probably all the way down here. I guess, and I also say my mom too, because my mom is an entrepreneur, and her we have the same voice, which is funny. So her sternness and sometimes maybe challenging what I want to do really mentored me to break through. And I just want to say this to everybody on here, sometimes don't fault your parents for not understanding your dreams and your vision. And don't let your parents hinder you from your dreams and your vision either. Mm-hmm. Sometimes your parents don't want you to fail because they don't know how you going to pick up the pieces. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So don't fault them for that.
Yep. That's their role. They want to protect you at all
times.
They
want to protect you at all times. Yeah. The whole time they were mentoring me and they were preparing me, because without my parents, without the love of my grandma, I wouldn't have that genuine heart. Without the love of my grandma, without my bossiness, I wouldn't have that from, without my father. Without my super confidence, like my mom is a hell of a networker. Like, she'd be like, do I know you? Mind you, she don't know you, but she gonna say that to spark a conversation, right? Because that's a hell of a tactic too. I done that too. They really taught me like how to really go out here and not just get this money, but be who I am and shine.
Yeah. You talked about growing up with a dad who was illiterate. I did too. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't understand that experience in the 21st century, right? Yeah. Talk a little bit about what that experience was like, how you honor him as a result. Because I know the uniqueness of that, like living in a house where somebody does not know how to read at all.
Yeah. Well, my daddy couldn't read the first page of my book, I tell you that. But he was proud, right? Like, one thing he could say is my daughter wrote this book, but my dad had the money to put me in this position. Yeah. My dad had the money to put me in better opportunities than he did. Even if he couldn't understand it. He don't understand certain things of college or what I'm talking about. Like, my dad was a man of two words. Okay. And yeah. That was really it. Right. You know what I'm saying? But with him being illiterate, it showed me that the possibilities are endless. Because you can't read.
And look what you've done.
But look what you've done.
My father used to tell us, man, I'd be president if I knew how to read.
Oh, man.
He was kind of telling us, y'all playing.
I remember you told me that.
Y'all taking a shot.
Like, if I can read, I'll be the president. Y'all bullshit.
Yeah. My dad's drive, like it basically showed me, like, you can have a major challenge in life, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be held back from opportunity. It's about hustle at this point. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so, we need to stop making excuses as to why we're not where we want to be, because now we live in the 21st century. Rosetta Stone can teach Japanese. You know what I'm saying? So he really, that's where that fearlessness came from. Like, yo, I can't read, but guess what? I'm going to be outside. I know how to speak to people. You know what I'm saying? I know how to work with my hands. You know what I'm saying? And I know that this is my dream.
What excuse you give that man being both of your daddies? What excuse you give him?
You don't give him no.
You don't give him.
They can look back at you and tell you, I can't even read. What you going to tell him? Like,
he can't even read.
Make it happen.
But he made it happen.
Yeah, that's big. That's incredible.
Speaking of making it happen, right? You from Jersey. You come here. You go to Howard. You obviously get the real, authentic DC experience, right? Mm-hmm. We've talked. The majority of this conversation has been, I think the theme is like really hustling.
Right.
And this is a town where you find people that hustle, but it's kind of laid back too, right? Mm-hmm. When you got here and really got your feet settled here, as a person coming from the outside, what was your observation of the pace here? And like, did you see people squandering opportunities? And how did that kind of make you feel when you observe that?
The crazy thing is, I think the sad part is that the people from here don't even capitalize off all this opportunity. You letting people come in from different cities and graduate college here and take all y'all money.
That's what
take y'all neighborhoods. Take everything from y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the sad part about being here. Like, there is nothing that doesn't happen in America without it going through Washington, D.C. You got nonprofits, you got legislative, you got state, federal, local governments, so I think that was the most craziest thing for me. Like, how I'm coming in here hustling in y'all city. Like, how am I embracing and loving your culture and your city more than you do? Yeah. But you are the same person on the flip side that's going, man, ain't nothing out here for me, bro. It's yada, yada, yada. That's because you in the slavery of your own mind. You know what you want to know. But I tell you this, if there was a pair of Jordans that came out today, you tell me which Foot Locker from here to Iverson Mall had them.
Yeah.
You know, so I think D.C. is a rich city. It's filled with culture. It's filled with a whole bunch of money. It's filled with a whole bunch of opportunity. And I just wish that more D.C. residents could capitalize off where they born and raised.
Yeah. We do too.
Yeah. D.C. or nothing.
DC or absolutely. Yeah, I'm telling you. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Nah, that's real. I receive that, and I think that, you know, and it speaks, I think, volumes about how blinding certain traumas or norms and culture can be for folks. You know what I'm saying? And we got to do a better job of understanding too, like, the gravity of this place in multiple ways, like how much really is going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then even mentioning it again, like it being, you know, the week of the Congressional Black Caucus, and how many years, you know, even in our work and the things that I was doing, like I was never invited, never aware. You know, and it might be even amazing to people to really, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would hear about it, but I had no context.
And it's right there.
And it's here.
It's right there, right up the street.
It's here, literally. You know what I mean? But it's like an entirely separate world.
That reminds me when
We've closed that gap, though.
definitely
Yeah.
when we first started this show like 12, 13 years ago, he had a toy drive at Kennedy Rec. Co-drive, my fault. Literally right there by the CBC during CBC week. And we had the radio show at the time, and we talked about that. How they're like walking distance away, but light years away of connecting with people on the ground in D.C.
100%. That was a real thing. Then it was that 12, 13 years ago when the first iteration of this. You know what I mean? And that was a big thing. Like, damn, like how they don't have no idea we right here. They walking past or driving past, and you know, because again, we was at Kennedy Rec. The convention center is literally
Right there.
Right there.
block away. You know what I'm saying?
And I think it's crazy because this city does so much for its residents. Let me really repeat that again.
Very true.
This city does so much for its residents compared to any other city in this nation.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you pay residents to go back to school, to finish summer school, something that you should just be doing anyway. You know what I'm saying? You pay kids 14 to 24 through Marion Barry's 45-year summer youth employment program. And some of them, half of them don't even show up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The opportunities that this city provides, it's like, it's not enough for black people.
Yeah, that's something.
And the question has got to become, when is it going to be enough?
Yeah, what is enough?
What is enough? Stop making excuses.
Yeah, like
How
you
much
said,
more do you
the
want?
Personal accountability piece is we have to start addressing that, and two things can be true. Like, we can acknowledge whatever it is that you may be
Right.
experiencing, going through, blah blah.
Of course.
But like that don't mean you don't show up. That don't mean you don't take advantage. That don't mean you act entitled.
Right. Right.
Because it's just simply not the way that it is.
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. Because you can
Just
go
not
somewhere.
this way.
Let me tell you something. You could be fighting for food stamps out Maryland, child. Because I
You know
heard
what I'm saying?
they
Not even
Medicaid
far,
is
right?
hard to
Right.
get.
But how about that, right?
You know what I'm
Man,
saying?
We ain't got to talk about going far, right?
Right.
We talking about right there.
Right here.
Yeah, that's real. But sometimes that's what it takes, right? People that have experienced other to be able to make you appreciate.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sometimes it's like a dude flirting with your girl. You know what I'm saying? Or I ain't gonna say your wife because something happened to you about that. But but somebody flirting with your wife, that you with her every day. You might not, you know, she with you, so you of course you think she's beautiful,
Right.
but you used to her being
don't
with
see her
you.
value
Yeah,
until-
you don't
right.
see her fullness until somebody else starts saying, man, you know, whatever
What's
the
up?
case, little work husband and all that old shit. You know what I'm saying? But what happens is that, but that's how it is, and it make you start to say, oh,
Right.
damn, I gotta start, man, you know, complimenting her more or appreciating her more.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that's the same way with some of the stuff that, if it's always been that way, you know, for us here, so much
Right.
stuff has been at our, our disposal, and we have access to certain things that we just think is like that everywhere, but it's not.
It's not.
Man.
It's not. It's not everybody's
So much.
reality.
I mean, so much of this place is just not a real place as it relates to the rest of the country.
Yeah, they always say DC isn't a real
It ain't.
place.
It ain't. It really ain't a real place. Yeah.
It's not, man. And there's good things and bad things about that in that way. But yeah, I appreciate you raising those points. I think it's not only well taken here in this room, but I think for so many people that's gonna see this, you know what I mean? We need to hear that,
And hear from somebody, because the other thing that I applaud and I find always great to see is when somebody that's not from here that learns how to embrace what's here, and then we can receive the criticism.
Yeah, because you ain't finger put that. Because you kind of honorary at this point, right? So we can hear that from you.
Right.
We can't hear that in the people that come in and what is all that kind of
Right.
But you've been in Chuck and Billy.
I've been in Chuck and Billy's, baby.
Right.
I got my hood stripes, y'all.
There's no question about it. Yeah, no question.
So you got like the 75 passenger vehicle with the wrap on it.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about one day having a private jet with the wrap on it.
I want to
right?
be a pilot, low key. I'm about to get my pilot's license, y'all. I'm gonna fly y'all right
The
now,
whole-
for
the
real.
whole thing,
Yeah,
huh?
I'm really into that.
So to that point though, right? You talked about the scholarships. What's the vision like 2030 for? What does College Girl look like? But then also, what does Jess Brown look like? Because that might be two totally different things.
Two different things, baby. Not just honestly, one of my biggest dreams is at least to serve 4 years. I want to be a president of a HBCU.
Okay.
I want to open doors. I want to transform what HBCUs are. They're stuck in the past, with a lot of things. And I know me, my team, my mission, my passion, my heart can really drive these institutions to live another 100 years. So that's honestly one of my biggest goals that I do want to do by the time I'm 45. But outside of that, I just want to continuously be a serial entrepreneur. But more importantly, show Black kids around the world that you can be unapologetically you, and people will invest in you. People will love you. Just make sure that you stay true to yourself and stay true to your integrity. That's one thing that money can't buy is integrity, and heart and hustle. And as long as you're doing what God sent out for you to do, then that's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
Well, you lit a fire under me today. I ain't gonna lie to you, for real. I appreciate the words. I appreciate the story, and the drive. I needed to hear that today. So I'm glad that you joined us.
Thank you. I put my eyebrows on just for y'all.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you for real, Susie. And thank you not only for being here with us this evening, but also I think most importantly, thank you for what you've done for the babies of this city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It means so much to them and their families. You know what I'm saying? We salute you. And if you ever need us, you already know what that's about. We there.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to. I think my biggest accomplishment is seeing kids live their dreams. I'm only 34, but I be crying. I remember one of my students, which is a short story for us to close out with, that would hope to give the viewers some empowerment. When I did my first college tour, I really had nothing. I could barely raise $10,000 in 30 days. And this one young lady named Janae was like, I want to go see Spelman, but my mom don't have the money. And that was our tour route. And we went to Spelman College. In 2022, I sat front row and watched her graduate from Spelman College. And now she's getting her master's at American. And now she teaches at E.L. Haynes. But more importantly, she works for me in the summertime.
That's it.
And so, that small investment in time goes a very, very long way into somebody's life. And sometimes, even if you don't have it, y'all, you don't have to have money to give back. Just be a support system. 100%. And I think sometimes we relate mentorship and with finances, or giving back with finances, but your time is your biggest currency. So if you can give that back into this community, I promise you DC will be stronger than ever.
I love it. Thank you again, Jess Brown, College Girl, for being with us. To those that are watching, another power-packed episode. We're trying to really make this platform a platform about leadership. And the people we bring on, we want to make sure that you guys are able to get as much information as possible from it, and you can glean from the guests that we bring on, and you can continue on your own leadership path. So until next time, Heart of the City.
Peace and love.
Peace.